Kurdish dissident groups based in Iraq are preparing to potentially join the ongoing fight against Iran. That's according to the Associated Press. A Kurdish official told the news agency some of their forces have moved near the Iranian border and are on standby. Should Iranian and Iraqi Kurdish groups become involved in the war, it would mark the first entry of a significant ground force. CBS News Middle East contributor Courtney Kealy is on set and to talk to us about this now. Good to see you. So Kurds in Iran only make up about 7% of the population. The history of arming groups, minority groups in a country where 50%, more than 50% of the population are Persian, how does that work in theory? Well, that picture is really telling because that is not a massing of tens of thousands of troops. Now, the Kurds are an ethnic group that stretch from Turkey into Syria, into Iraq, and into the border into Iran. They've wanted their own state. They do enjoy more of a semi-autonomous government in northern Iraq that borders Iran. And the Iranian Kurds, some of them had to flee persecution and live alongside the Iraqi Kurds. It's mountainous. They know the areas. The Peshmerga have chained for years. It would be more like spotters, going in and helping call in airstrikes. It's not going to come in like you're going to see some kind of Sparta battle. But the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps is aware of this. They are stationed all over this border where the Kurds are. And as you said, it's a sticky wicket because you don't want to upset any other minority groups or the majority groups.
I mean, that's important context of how they would actually factor into all this. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, she was asked about reports that the president is considering arming Kurdish forces. I want to play a little bit of sound and then get your reaction.
The president has held many calls with partners, allies, and leaders in the region, in the Middle East. He did speak to Kurdish leaders with respect to our base that we have in northern Iraq. But as for any report suggesting that the president has agreed to any such plan is completely false and should not be written.
So, I mean, how likely would it be that the U.S. and the Kurds team up? I mean, you heard her response.
Well, they have done before. In Syria, they helped defeat ISIS. And the Kurds there wanted this area called Rojava, their own independent state. But that's not what's happening now with the new Syrian leadership and Bashar al-Assad gone. When you talk about partners, we have to bring Recep Tayyip Erdogan of Turkey. They have a longstanding issue with Kurds and separatist groups and terrorist groups. So if President Trump was doing something and hadn't talked to, say, the Turkish president, there could be issues there. So it's a diplomatic balance. It's also a military balance of what would they do? How effective would they be? They're only lightly armed now. So they're not going to go in and go face up like a kind of weaponry that the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps does have. But this really shows that there might be an alliance, that there might be assets, and they might be usable by the Israelis and the U.S.
So, Courtney, the other question is, the president in the lead up to this war suggested that the just ordinary Iranian citizens take to the streets to take back their government, oust the Revolutionary Guard. But these are not trained soldiers. These are people that don't have a history, unlike perhaps the Kurds, of trying, because they've been looking for their own state for many, many years, of attempting to do anything like this. So what is the actual likelihood that the Revolutionary Guard, which is a well-trained, very disciplined military force that we have yet to face in this conflict, what is the chance that ordinary Iranians could even do a modicum of what the president was suggesting?
Right, the Revolutionary Guard is baked into the name. They're there to continue the cause of their revolution, their strain of radical Islamic ideology. And the regular person, a regular Iranian who reaches out to me and says, thank you for giving us a voice, we have no part in this. We actually would choose to have to endure airstrikes than endure this regime anymore. Over and over again, they say, thank you. But no, they can't take to the streets. They can't defend themselves. A lot of people are seeking shelter in place. But this is going to be kind of a complex battlefield geometry, and we're going to see it evolve. A lot of it will still remain covert, and we'll have to see really how the U.S. leads in accordance with Israel And unfortunately, we do know the last time they took to the streets, there was a massive slaughter, the worst massacre in modern Iranian history in January. They are still reeling from that. They are still mourning their dead. But in defiance of the regime, they are celebrating their dead. But not in the name of martyr. They always say Javed Nam, which is Persian for eternal name. They are making sure that that we are making this distinction because it is really, truly, they want this regime gone. The vast majority. We don't have polling, but it's not representative of the whole of Iran. But they are strong, and we don't know if there will be any fissures or fractures in the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps or their leadership. While both Israel and the U.S. go after the top leadership, and they have killed several, they do run deep, and they do have. They have loyalists and people that are believe in the cause so deeply that is very hard to undo that ideology. It's not something that could just turn.
I mean, I guess, though, the natural question coming out of that is you say, OK, you have Iranians who likely would not be able to successfully overthrow this regime. You have people who are very committed to an ideology. You have ongoing airstrikes. If this only does last 4 to 5 weeks, how likely is there that there is an actual overturn?
Right. History has not shown that that really is something that's easily done. In the days of Saddam Hussein, when there were, remember the Kurds and the Shia in the south, they both staged uprising. They both were put down, and we didn't see a change in Iraq until 2003, 2005. So there's a short game and a long game to this, and we will definitely continue these discussions.
Yeah, Courtney Kealy, always great to have you, my friend. Thank you very much for that insight and analysis.